Hello BSS, welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here then just welcome. Hi, my name is Brenda. I do mostly paranormal videos here on my channel, so if that is something that you are interested in, please consider subscribing down below and turn on your post notifications so you do not miss when I post another video like this one. Now with all of that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into today's video. Alright you guys, so today we are doing something slightly different than usual, a topic that's different than usual. So you guys can probably tell from the title, today we are going to be talking about the abandoned ghost town in Alaska by the name of Portlock. And so it is going to be about an urban legend behind why the people of this little village in Portlock all of a sudden decided to up and leave the entire village. Alright, so make sure you guys get comfortable, get something to drink, get a snack, whatever it is, whatever time you're watching this. For me, I am going to be drinking a little bit of wine, a little rosé. She's a little bit fancy because it's 5 o'clock somewhere, but right now here it's like 2 p.m. But I wanted to do a little bit of an ASMR for you guys like I did last time. I have my little glass here with ice cubes in it, and I'm gonna open this bottle up for you. So it's the same brand, it's the Simpler Wines, and it's a rosé Italian sparkling wine. This is from Trader Joe's. They were actually really good, so I'm excited to try this one. So let me open it for you guys. Crisp. And I'm only gonna pour half of it, so just so you guys know. Ooh, it smells good. Alright, so the other half I'm just gonna leave it in the can here because I'm not trying to be drunk in this video. This shit 10% alcohol. 10% by volume. So cheers if you've got a drink as well. Cheersies! Sorry, it's gonna be a lot of clanking and stuff for a little bit and a little fizzing in the background, so I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to keep it away from the microphone. Ooh, I like her. She's fancy. Oh, that was good. Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about this Alaskan town. It's like off of the Kenai Peninsula in Alaska. Don't know much about the geography of Alaska or how many towns there are, how many people live there. Like, I don't know any of that, but I do know that there's a lot of different urban legends, a lot of different serial killers that have been in the state of Alaska. So I'm really excited to do a little bit something different for today for you guys because I love learning about different urban legends. I love talking about urban legends like Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, Yeti, all of that good stuff. It's just so fun. But I'm going to be reading off of this article on the website onlyinyourstate.com, and sorry if I end up burping a lot in this because the bubbly always gets me. But anyway, okay, let's get into it. I'm gonna take one more sip. Maybe that'll take the edge off a little bit because every time that I start a video I get nervous for no reason. Alright, so as I said, I'm gonna be reading off of this so you guys will just see me looking down. Alright, it says, on the southern tip of the Kenai Peninsula lies an abandoned ghost town called Portlock. With only a few rotting houses left of the once vibrant village, although Aleut people have lived on the southern tip of the Kenai Peninsula for thousands of years, no one had a settlement in the Portlock area until the 1780s. This thriving town remained until everyone abandoned the village in 1950. with most residents moving to nearby villages down the coast. A mine tunnel, house pilings, and rusted cannery equipment are all that remain of Portlock, and the reason why is terrifying. An unexplained hairy creature continuously assaulted and stalked the villagers, murdering them and leaving their bodies until they finally all abandoned the area. Portlock, Alaska lies in the southern end of the Kenai Peninsula in south-central Alaska. The village of Portlock was established when Captain Nathaniel Portlock of the Royal British Navy landed there in 1787. It was an unexplored, beautiful area filled with fish and plenty of space. Residents in the nearby villages of Seldovia, Nanwalek, and Port Graham also report that the area is haunted, including Portlock, also called Port Catham, Catham Bay, and Chrome, the site of a chromium mine. Portlock began to become well known as one of the creepy places in Alaska. Many are afraid to visit this area due to the unexplained circumstances that continue to happen in this small town. In 1905, it was reported that all the workers left their cannery jobs due to something mysterious that was bothering the camp. The cannery workers returned the next season, but unexplained events were continuously reported. There was an air of fear and mystery that began to pervade the small town. Hunters and gold miners who headed into the mountains started to disappear. In 1931, one man that was chopping wood was found murdered, seemingly by a single blow that seemed stronger than a human could manage. This alarmed the townspeople. So they didn't really elaborate on that one in this article, but it was said that they had found that man who had been struck with some of the equipment from the site, and it was like equipment that was way heavy. Like it would have had to be done by like multiple men to carry it and then hit him with it. And like, yeah, so it was like a big piece of equipment. I don't really know what it was, but all I know is that it was heavy as hell, and there's no way that a human could have picked it up and hit him with it. And he was pretty far away from the piece of equipment, so they didn't think that he accidentally like fell and hit his head on it or something. They think that somebody literally picked it up, like this huge thing. Again, I don't remember what it was, but hit him over the head with it, and he like died immediately. So it had to be something big to pick that up, basically. Okay. It says one group hunting a moose reported finding giant footprints also stalking the same animal. They arrived at the site of a bloody battle and no moose was found. Footprints over 18 inches long headed from that spot into the foggy mountains. Occurrences like this began to show up regularly. I have always been so fascinated by the footprints that they find of like Bigfoot or Yeti or whatever. And I know they can be faked and somebody can make like a fake cast of it, but I still find it super fascinating. And yeah, I love that shit. Alright, it says, one resident saw a huge hairy man destroying fish wheels along the beach. He ran back to get his gun, and when he returned, the beast just stared at him and walked off. With these sightings, unease began to ramp up in the town. Bodies that were recovered, having washed down the rivers into the lagoon, had strange wounds no bear could make. The loss of these lives took a toll on the small community, and fear set in. People started to leave. With unexplained disappearances and murders, no one felt they could take a chance and continue to live here. Residents took off en masse in 1949, leaving their houses, the nearby chromium mine, the cannery, the teacher cottage, and the large schoolhouse to return to the wilderness. This left Portlock as an abandoned town in Alaska, and one many people never wanted to return to. Only the postmaster remained. After a year alone, the post office closed in 1950, and the last resident of Portlock left town. Even the postmaster couldn't continue on in this town. This town experienced over 50 years of hauntings, murders, and disappearances before the townspeople gave in and left. In the local dialect of Alutiiq, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, sorry, the language of the area, the creature is called a Nantinak. I think that's how you say it, I'm not sure. Half man, half beast. In the 1970s, fishermen forced to take refuge from a storm reported something strange walked through their camp on 2 feet. It terrified them, and they left as soon as possible. 70 years after the haunting started, they were still continuing when people visited the area. The ghost town of Portlock, Alaska, has a mysterious story. Whether or not this is a stronghold of Bigfoot in Alaska, you can decide for yourself. The disappearances and the bodies were too horrible for anyone to continue living in the small town. So that is basically the history of it. So from when they were first settled, like mostly in the 1920s, like 1930s, because before that there was a small village site, but ultimately all of the people from that village ended up leaving to a different spot, and it wasn't actually settled into until about the 1930s. And in just those few years between 1930s and 1950s, there was over 36 people who went missing or who were murdered, and there was no explanation for it. And almost every single time they would wash up onto the shore of the village, and they would be kind of mauled as if it were from a bear or something. And a lot of people could say that it was just bears, but for bears to come up and attack that often is really rare. I feel like it is because usually they stay away from the village, and a lot of these people were taken from within village grounds, so not all of them were just in the middle of the forest or anything like that. And so, for it to be dismissed as just bears, I wouldn't go directly to that. I feel like you can believe a little bit that it could be some other kind of creature that is unknown to us, because when you think about remote places like this where nobody has set foot for a really long time, like who knows who could be there before humans settle on it, what kind of creatures could be there. And especially because it got so bad that everybody ended up just leaving and it's just abandoned now. Nobody lives there. Nobody wants to rebuild the community there or anything like that. I mean, Alaska alone, I feel like a lot of the state itself is uninhabited. I don't know, whichever word it is. So who knows what it could have actually been. And what else was I going to touch on? There was something else that was on here. Oh yeah, the postman. I honestly cannot believe that he would stay there for a year to kind of send people's mail out to their new addresses or whatever it was. I would have been out of there like ASAP, because I don't think that I would want to be there by myself. And I know there were a few stories that I heard about the postman, like how he stayed in the mail, like the post office, and that's where he resided as well. And he said that there was always noises in the woods, that he knew that there was always something watching him from the woods, which is so creepy because maybe he was being stalked. But I mean, he survived the whole year, and from 1949 to 1950 to just close off completely after that. And so nothing happened to him because he just mostly remained in the post office. He didn't go wander out in the woods or other parts of the community or other parts of the village. So honestly, I would believe that there was something more to this, because when it comes to bears, they're not going to hit you over the head with a piece of equipment or anything like that. They're just going to attack. And then especially because there was that one survivor who ended up dying from his wounds. Was that in this? Okay, yeah, there was another story. It was in a different article that I had been reading. It said, in the 1920s, a man by the name of Albert Petka supposedly scared off the hairy creature with his dogs, but not before receiving a fatal blow to the chest. According to the stories, Petka survived to explain what happened, but died to his wounds soon after. There are also reports of prospectors and hunters going missing frequently to the point that it became commonplace. Their bodies were allegedly found in a creek as if their limbs had been ripped apart. A school teacher in the 1970s even talked about growing up in Portlock and also told stories of people being afraid of what could be lurking in the night. So yeah, this guy, Petka, basically was able to tell people what happened to him before dying, and it was the same thing where it was like a hairy creature that I feel like you don't just mistake. I mean, what am I trying to say? Like, you basically can't mistake a bear. Like, you can't look at it and be like, oh, what is that? Like, is it a wolf? Like, you know it's a bear when you see it, right? So it's not like he was just like, I don't know, it was just like some hairy thing. And he said it was like standing on 2 feet. And I know that bears can do that, but like, if it was about to attack you, it would be running at you on all fours, and then, you know, once it's ready to attack with its paws, it would do a little jump up and then attack you, right? So I figure if it was a bear, he would say it was a bear. It wouldn't be a hairy creature, right? So there was another thing on here that I wanted to share with you guys. Okay, it says, the villagers talked about seeing a spirit of a woman dressed in black clothes that would come out on the cliffs above town. They described her dress as being so long that she would have to drag it. She had a very white face and would scream and moan. The villagers would hear something, and then she would disappear back into the cliff face. So that is another little legend that they have there, which I thought was really creepy too. I was like, I would have moved away too, girl. That's so creepy. Let me see if there's anything on here. But yeah, it says, regardless of his skepticism, there is something uncanny about several groups of people being fearful of this monster. It's definitely an interesting story, but people swear by this. For the locals that grew up in the area, this thing has apparently existed for hundreds of years. There was a small village site at Portlock before it was founded, and those people had originally moved away. When the 1930s incidents started to happen, most of the Russian Aleuts, I think that's the word, actually moved out of the town for a year. The people running the cannery basically begged their workers to come back, and they set up armed guards for a short period of time trying to get their workers back in town. It says, monster or no monster, people abandoned Portlock en masse. That we can establish as the facts. Those people did leave the town. We know when the town and the post office shut down. We know that there are reported murders in the area. They called them murders, but they also included people that just went lost in those reports. We're not talking about a dozen people, we're talking about like 3 dozen people. If we have a serial killer in the area at the time, they took out a lot of people in the course of, say, 20 years. Yeah, which would be insane. Like, I don't think you can get away with that many people, like, without anyone suspecting you at all. Like, I don't know what they were doing, honestly. That was a long time ago. But yeah, that's basically the gist of this urban legend. I just think it's super eerie and interesting that a whole village just up and decided to leave a town. You know, it could have been anything else, honestly. Like, maybe the resources, maybe. But like, when it's like small villages like that, maybe, and people get tired of it, it's like usually 1 or 2 different families that slowly leave. But when a whole village is up and leaves altogether in the same time, like, that just blows my mind, because there has to be something more to that, right? It can't just be like, like, this town kind of sucks, let's all just leave, you know? Like, I actually believe that there could be something in this area, because if you just take a look at the pictures that I'm showing you guys during this, it's just thick forest, like, with mountain sides, and just the one, like, settled ground where they probably had all of the houses and stuff. And there's something really creepy about the one picture with it just abandoned and there's just one single house and it's surrounded by woods on the outside of it. Like, I can just imagine how terrifying that would be at night, like not being able to see past any of the trees and just being able to see the village alone. And then as I was talking about that postman who stayed by himself for a year, like I can't imagine looking out of the window and feeling like somebody was looking at you from within those woods. Like, even if it was a bear or a wolf or coyote, whatever you want to speculate is out there, like even if it was an animal, I would be shitting bricks, because that means that they're just waiting for that moment where they can attack you, and that's scary as hell. And then when it comes to Bigfoot like creatures, I feel like they're smart, you know, they're kind of like on the ape side, like mammals. So like I would say, think of like chimpanzees or gorillas, you know, like they're smart, like they know kind of what's going on and they know what they're doing, and they know, you know, for the most part, and they act on instinct still, but they're smart, so we're able to have some kind of communication with them, which is wild to me. So I wouldn't rule that out completely. I wouldn't rule out like some kind of Yeti Bigfoot monster to have all these people say, bye, I'm out of here, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, guys, that's basically all that I have to tell you in regards to this urban legend. Before we completely finish this video, I'm gonna take another sip of my drink. Good stuff. Alright, you guys, I am going to wrap up the video there. I really do hope that you enjoyed this different type of subject. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Don't forget to leave it a thumbs up. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you did enjoy this sort of content. That way I know that you guys liked it, and then I can continue to do more of this sort of video. But yeah, guys, before I do end today's video, the comment shout out goes to this person right here. Thank you so much for leaving a nice comment. As always, I really do appreciate it, and it really makes my day. And if you want to be the next comment shout out, all you have to do is leave me a nice comment down below, and that's it. Now, with all of that being said, you guys, hopefully I will see you in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to stay safe and be kind. Bye bye.